Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's bright and early daily discipline, mind, body, and soul. This is how we get through Tuesday. Hope you guys are grinding forward. Going to have a good week. Stay on your programs. I want to talk a little bit about this USAID thing that's going on, and I want to relate it to a long government Psyop that has been infiltrating various societies throughout the world, but I want to specifically talk about America and ghetto culture. So I watched a 2 or 3 hour interview with this guy Mike Benz on Joe Rogan about USAID, and then I watched the same guy be interviewed by Sean Ryan. So I got a good 6 hours of Mike Benz and USAID info, and he talked about a psyop that the American government was involved in Cuba to help overthrow the Cuban government. And he talked about different psychological operations, manipulations of societies in different countries, and how it starts from the ground up and all the different ways that it's done. And it's like a spider web of manipulation of all these various little areas. And with Cuba, I thought it was interesting because what he talked about was hip-hop music and rappers, Cuban rappers, being used as an anti-government voice in order to inspire young people to protest or become activists, to inspire an activist class. Now that may not result in riots and overthrow this generation, but at some point it was hopeful that it would. And this wasn't done directly by our government or directly by our CIA. This was done by USAID programs. So they started a record label. How innocent is that? And called it something artsy in order to help develop the creative aspect of Cuba. You know, let's give them a creative outlet. A record label, this is great, and find a bunch of Cuban little boys and girls who want to be creative and artsy and become musicians, and that sounds great. But what they did is they only signed certain rappers that had a particular violent overthrow of the government sort of message or a particularly gangster message. It turns out that the gangster rap message can very easily lead someone to postmodernism, liberalism, and violent overthrow, even though it starts off with just drugs and crime and bitches and hoes. So what it got me thinking about is the ghetto in America, a place that I'm very familiar with. I was born in the ghetto, raised in the ghetto, and I didn't make it out of the ghetto until I was about 36, and I didn't make it far, I'll be honest. New Year's Eve, we play the game here in my neighborhood of, is it fireworks or is it gunshots? It's usually gunshots. We have a convenience store a half a block from my house that I can easily walk to. That's been robbed once a week for the last month. They can't catch the guy. So I'm ghetto adjacent. We get helicopters flying. We got high-speed chases and drug dealers and all that, not far. So I know about low income. It's a world that I have been a part of. And I've wondered, what's the deal, man? They throw millions and millions and millions at the fucking ghetto my whole life with all kinds of community programs and organizations and everything you can imagine. Oh, Barrios Unidos is in the barrio. They got Black Lives Matter in the hood. They got every organization you can think of and 10 more that you've never heard of in every ghetto in America. And money is being thrown at these things left and right. Oh, all these little record labels that popped up in the late 80s, early 90s throughout New York, LA. NWA came out of it. A lot of groups came out of it. And a lot of people just thought that was organic. It was just young black kids, young minorities, talking about the conditions in the ghetto. But why are those conditions around? And it wasn't always that way. If you talk to anybody who's my parents' generation, they'll tell you, oh, these streets, there was no Crips and Bloods when I was a kid. This was all safe. There was no Mexican mafia. There was no Norteño, Sureño. There wasn't nothing like that when I was a kid. This was all safe. Well, what happened? We got more money than any other country in the world being thrown into our ghettos for generations, and it's just still a nightmare. So why? Why can't money solve this? What's the problem? It seems like the problem everybody's chasing is money. If there was only money in the hood, there's billions and billions and billions of dollars being put into the hood. And we can count up all the organizations, and there's people getting rich off of you. So it's no different than Cuba. What did they do in Cuba? They infiltrated the education system. USAID tried to change the nature of learning and the facts that were learned and create a hatred and an anger for your own culture, to sow a division in a country, and create a solid underclass that has a deep-rooted hatred and grudge against everyone else and the land that they're on. You keep people stupid, and it's proven that when you keep people stupid, you create generational idiocy. You got stupid parrots, apples don't fall far from the tree, you're gonna be fucking stupid. They create welfare systems. People used to work for their money, and now people just wait for their money. And generational welfare is a thing. And I have a friend of mine whose son is just about to turn 18, and he's not teaching his son how to start a business or encouraging him to join the military or go to college or to just get a job somewhere. No. He's literally teaching his son how to fill out applications for welfare. And his mother was on welfare. He grew up with his mother in the 60s on welfare, and he himself has been on welfare every single day of his life, from child through adult, and now he's in his late 50s. And now he's training his son. This is absolutely wrong. And why do they do that? Because the welfare system has trained people to be lazy. It's replaced fathers. These women can just go on welfare with 10 kids. They don't need a man. That wasn't a thing when my dad was young. She have to find a man. Welfare wasn't such a big deal. They've expanded it and created a whole class of lazy, uneducated, impoverished idiots who all they know how to do is suck up off the government. And I'm not trying to bash those people as being wrong. You're victims of a Psyop. There's a culture of laziness, a culture of idiocy. If you become educated and you go get a job in the hood, and I've tried this, you get ridiculed, mocked, because there's this extreme us against them, this tribalism that's been created, this intense tribalism. They're demons. The rich are the worst. The rich are the problem. The wealthy, the whites, anybody who's not broke and poor and stupid and down here gangbanging and slanging is part of the problem. This is the bizarro world, like from Superman, the opposite dimension that has been created. And it's literally like another dimension. Your values, your morals, everything becomes twisted. Life becomes cheap and easy, and you want to solve your problems through murder and isolation and all kinds of crazy shit. And then the media, this is all USAID. The media in Cuba and many other countries has been infiltrated. The print media, the video forms of media, whether it be online or just their TV news anchors, the editors and writers, and their entire media is infiltrated with spies, saboteurs, people that are there to promote a message and promote an agenda. an agenda of hedonism, pleasure-seeking, and fast wealth. And then, of course, within the media, the entertainment industry offers this kind of carrot on a stick to the lucky chosen few who might be able to somehow be selected, like the Hunger Games or something, just selected and pulled out of their little quadrant. And then you get these little gold-toothed ghetto idiots with $300 million, a mansion and a yacht. And every little motherfucker on the block is desperate to be the next one. Desperate to kill their way to be the next one. To sling as much dope. Where does the crack come from? Oh, they found out that the CIA, along with other groups, were involved with this in South America. And go look at the story of Ricky Ross. The LA Times broke that story. Freeway Ricky, not the fat pizza guy, that fucking fraud. The real Rick Ross. And it goes further than that. This is a whole spider web. Illegal immigration, I've seen this. The hood gets flooded with immigrants, flooded with illegals. And the little bit that you have, the little jobs that you qualify for, the little bit of money that you might be able to make on a block selling rocks or whatever you're selling, all that gets taken away because now there's 50,000 more fucking people living in your neighborhood or in a neighborhood next door that shouldn't be there or wouldn't have been there, that never were there. And it adds to the tribalism, this us against them. You want a race war? There's been a race war between blacks and Mexicans for my entire life. Worse than any kind of KKK or Klan shit. It's not talked about. How about the blacks between the Asians? That's also happening. We saw that during Rodney King riots. Asians were on rooftops shooting blacks, and blacks were robbing Asian stores. The Asians had nothing to do with the beating. This was all tribalism, an explosion. And these USAID groups have inspired and started and manipulated it all. And they've done this in every other country in the world, and they're doing it here. You see a fucking ocean of these Lil Wayne fucking wannabe idiots. Where do they come from? We can spend 10 billion, 10 trillion fucking dollars on the hood, and you'll still have another ocean of Lil Wayne fucking wannabes ready to kill their way into prison, ready to kill their way to the top. It's a psyop on all of us, on some of us at least. They can throw as much money as they want at the ghetto and it'll never solve the problem. What's going to solve the problem is stopping that money. Stopping these programs. Get rid of these community organization groups. They're all fucking communist fronts to bring down this damn country. And if you're engaged in it, you're selling dope, you're part of the problem. You're on the block, you're part of the problem. You're listening to the gangster rap all fucking day long. You're supporting the goddamn psyop, you idiot bitch. When you wake up to this stuff, I mean, it's like the Matrix, and you can see it. It's obvious. We're being played as fools, and we always have been. This is why the Democrats, oh, the party of the people, your friends, the ones that you think care about you, they have been up to this since day one, and it's all about money and power. Greed. You've been tricked. Why is everybody in the hood a Democrat? Why are there no Republicans in the hood? We have freedom of speech, freedom of thought. None of them can see, well, maybe we shouldn't be taxed so much, or maybe those illegals shouldn't be here. You don't get Republicans in the hood, and if they come out with opening their mouth, you get 100 of these Lil Wayne wannabes trying to assault them, attack them, burn their house down, get the fuck out of here. You white boy, you white piece of shit, you're one of them, you're one of them. As if being white is the fucking problem. As if it was all whites that did this. Oh, it's just a white conspiracy to kill all minorities. That's what they have you believe. And I've had to fight my way against this shit my whole life, being from the hood. Oh, what are you doing down here, white boy? I live here, you stupid fuck. You think poverty only hits black people, only hits brown people, you stupid idiot? They're doing this to all of us on purpose. You either see it or you don't. You probably don't.